You're still watching Newsday here on Arise News, and it's now time for a conversation on wealth creation. The global economy is expected to lose nearly $8.5 trillion in output over the next 2 years due to the COVID-19 pandemic, wiping out nearly all gains of the previous 4 years so far. So a key question is, how do we create wealth in this COVID-19 era? So, let's bring in an expert on wealth creation and the CEO of LifePage Group, OLADIPUPO Clement, for more on this discussion. Mr. Clement, thanks a lot for joining us to discuss this this afternoon. And I'd like to start off by speaking about the industries that you would say have seen some sort of sustainable boom during this era when it comes that would be worthy of long-term investments in terms of wealth creation.
All right, thank you, Leila, for having me. First and foremost, the industries that have the best of opportunities this season, industries that are providing services that people can't really do without, all right? And so industries such as, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sure can. Do go on.
Oh, excellent. All right, so industries such as agriculture, right? Food, healthcare sector, and essentially residential development, even in the real estate sector. There are several technology is certainly going to be doing very, very well this season. Nearly everything is migrating online. Business is now running remotely. And so that's the action now.
Well, Mr. Clement, although we are yet to see the latest unemployment figures in Nigeria, but there's no gainsaying that those job cuts would happen. However, there will also be fierce competition for the few jobs available. But would it be wise to start a business now? Is this the period for entrepreneurs to boom?
Oh, absolutely. Before COVID, businesses were already struggling, and then COVID became a shocker to a lot of businesses and more or less disrupted every plan any business may already have. So people are still going to lose more jobs, and so entrepreneurship certainly is the way. People have lost a lot of jobs, just like you said. There are no data to support that fact yet, but I'm fully aware because of the role I play and businesses I also relate with. A lot of entrepreneurs I relate with. A lot of businesses can't even keep up with salaries. A lot of businesses have backup savings, right? Individuals didn't have backup savings and plans. Families also didn't have backup savings and plans. Nobody saw this coming. Nobody saw COVID-19 coming. But there's fundamentally, I must mention here that every crisis presents its own unique opportunities. All right. So usually when there is crisis, it's for redistribution of wealth. So there will be an emergence of new millionaires, and there will also be an emergence of multi-billionaires, right? Because adversity is the incubation for wealth creation. Every season of crisis will always lead to a season of plenty eventually. Essentially, those who are able to innovate in times of crisis like this are the ones who will be able to take advantage of those opportunities.
Certainly. Turning lemons into lemonade at this point is what everyone is trying to look for ways to do. But let me go beyond business and speak to you about other investments. If we're looking at financial instruments, immediate term, short term, long term, and whatever the case may be, would you say that there are financial instruments like bonds, treasury bills that are worthy of investments right now?
All right. So whenever it comes to investing generally, the objective of your fund matters a great deal. While it's not a bad idea to keep your funds, it's also important to consider inflation, consider devaluation. As you already know, Naira has already been devalued, even though it's been given a different name. Inflation is on a massive rise. And so whether you like it or not, you need some kind of instrument that will hedge against both, that will hedge against inflation and hedge against devaluation. So what you find is putting money in treasury bills isn't even attractive anymore. It's not in any way protecting the value of your fund. So it makes more sense to consider, I mean, money market has its short-term benefit, and that's why I mentioned the need to have a clear-cut objective. Your objective, your wife investing always defines your what you should invest in, all right? So real estate is still a very fantastic instrument or vehicle for creating wealth anytime, any day. The most important, most valuable asset on earth to still is in itself. So creating or edging against edging against inflation or devaluation, right, is the best place to put money for long-term, mid-term is certainly real estate. Of course, stock market also has its own unique opportunities, but there's so much uncertainty in the air. The only place where you have some degree of stability and some sense of stability is in real estate. And of course, to ensure that there's a measure of liquidity, whether for business or for family, you need you can put money into treasury bills.
Okay, great. So, Mr. Clement, as one Nigerian who perhaps made plans to grow financially in the year 2020, and those plans now have been put on hold or outrightly cancelled, where really do I create my wealth from, to be specific? And what are the financial lessons we can begin to learn individually from this pandemic?
Excellent question you have asked me. Now, we must all know that life runs in cycle, all right? There's always a season of plenty and there's always a season of famine. Every time there's a crisis of this nature, and this isn't going to be the last. This isn't going to be the last crisis we're going to see. It's called the shade of COVID-19 or pandemic, but certainly there will be another type. Every 7 to 10 years, there's always this cycle. It's referred to as wealth cycle, all right? So what we should be doing, one of the lessons we have learned with this is that you need to have an emergency fund, right? We've always advised that people should save up to 6 month living expenses to prevent, to harness opportunities and also to access opportunities that to against it that may otherwise throw you off. So essentially, what this season presents, or what this season has shown, is the degree of reckless financial behavior of a lot of people out. Just Nigerians. It cuts across every nation of the earth. All right. So one important thing to do at this season, one other thing to do this season also is to begin to as a businessman, I'm into real estate. I run a real estate investment company. I can tell you for a fact that the fact that you are into real estate or any other industry for that matter, your vision may remain the same, but your product can change with the times and the season. And that's my recommendation for people. Right? The prosperity of every individual this season and beyond lies in providing services.
And Mr. OLADIPUPO Clement, on that note, we will have to thank you very much for joining us this afternoon on Newsday to look into wealth creation and the possibilities that are out there for a lot of us.